Hello, welcome to the 𝐵𝐔𝐘𝐒 show. It's your life, and wow, this is a very important day for veterans. A very important day for everybody, but especially if you served in the military. And it's been 248 years, I can say, Veterans Day has existed, and we are here to talk about some of these things. I got an absolutely fantastic panel that all served and all did extremely well and making sure that we protect not only our country, but our allies and make sure that our kids and our grandkids will get an opportunity to enjoy this freedom. So I got a panel of superstars here. And, I'm going to start off real quickly. We got Dr. Clement Johnson, who's going to be joining us here. Served in the wrong service, but that's okay. We're accepting it. Marine Corps. We got Captain, Navy Captain Herman Archibald. Wow, I've been knowing this guy ever since Moby Dick was a guppy. We grew up in the Navy together, and that's Arch. I call him. I said that's my dog. That's my DAWG. You know, we got this absolutely beautiful, gorgeous friend of mine, Stacey Bulluck. I think it was the Air Force or something. I'm not sure which one of the services. No, it was Army. I know it was Army. But I had to throw you off a little bit. But served, and each one of them going to tell you a little bit about them, so you're going to get an opportunity to know them as well. And we got Charles Golden, my buddy, and also the Executive Vice President of the 𝐔𝐘𝐒 Foundation, Navy. So wherever you're watching this at, grab you about 10, 11 bags of popcorn because we are getting ready to get deep into this. We're going to talk about why we serve, honoring our veterans on Veterans Day. So, I want to start off with each one of you guys. Can you guys take, we'll start off with you, Clement, about a minute and tell our viewers and listeners about you and your service and why you served.
Outstanding. My pleasure, Dr. 𝐵𝐔𝐘𝐒. And thank you for inviting me to be on this gracious panel. I'm Dr. Clement Johnson. I'm out in California. I own a technology company focusing on cybersecurity and infrastructure networks. I am a retired Marine after 25 years of service. Served in Iraq, served in Kuwait, was a government contractor for many years, served with 3rd Fleet as a government contractor, served with 1MEF as a government contractor, pretty much all over the world, doing operational technology networks, cybersecurity type stuff, and information technology. Pleased to be here.
Wow. Thank you, Clem. Captain Archibald, you up next.
Well, it's good. Good evening. Happy Veterans Day to all the people that are listening. Thank you for your service. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for your prayers. And whether you haven't served in uniform or not, you paid taxes, you sent letters, you encouraged us on deployments, and you held down the fort while many of us were standing to watch in some really, really dark and bad places. So thank you. Herman Archibald. I joined the Navy in 1981. I 18 years old, and I retired in 2018. So for you Alabamians, I was 37 years. I was 55 years old when I retired. So, but I absolutely loved serving because I got a chance to meet wonderful people like Dr. �𝐾𝐒. We were young enlisted guys and both got commissions and just had a wonderful time. And he was always a mentor and a pace setter for me. I would not be nowhere near as fit as I am today if I had not shared time and space with James. But I spent 37 years and had a great family structure. I had a wife that held down the fort. My wife, Dr. Mary Archibald, she's also a veteran. So if she's watching, a shout out to her. And she held down the fort. So I was able to do some of those things. Just I can't think of anything. I think John Kennedy said it best. You know, if anybody asks you what you've done worthwhile living, I can think of no greater pride that I served in the United States Navy, and that goes over for all the other services too. I'm just honored, and I'm very appreciative for the opportunity to serve.
Wow. Thank you so much, Captain Archibald. Stacey. Hey, Stacey, can you tell our viewers and listeners? And by the way, Stacey got a wonderful, wonderful show. You guys got to tune in on Friday. You know, and she's one of the hosts on my network and E360. Her show is bopping. You know, Stacey, can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about you and why you serve?
Absolutely. So I went into the military at the tender young age of 19. Yes, 19. And just yesterday was my 39th anniversary of joining the military. I thought, wow, 39 years ago, I joined the Army. And I probably did it for little different reasons than most. I actually needed to make a major lifestyle change. And excuse me, and the military was very intricate in me doing that. And I'm thankful for that. As some of the guests have already said, I am grateful that I was able to do that. In actuality, some people still today are not even able to join the service. And that's what it is. You serve, your mindset becomes that of service and ensuring that your country is safe. Excuse me, get me some water after this. But I served 18 years and a little shy of retirement because I was in an accident that challenged my walking ability. And because of that, that meant that I couldn't fire a rucksack, I couldn't get in the foxhole. Probably wasn't going to do that anyway in the dental field, but it stopped me from being in the military, but it didn't stop me from serving. I now serve on a different battleground. I have a nonprofit who serves formerly incarcerated female veterans and homeless women. We also, you see at the bottom of the screen, Power and Resilience is a workforce development agency where a lot of the things that we teach are from my military learning.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Stacey. Charles Golden, my friend. Can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about you?
Well, thank you first, James, for Dr. 𝐷𝐿𝐒, for allowing me to come to your show. My name is Charles Golden III. I joined the Navy at the ripe old age of 25. I spent the first portion of my adult life traveling the world, seeing the world. By doing that and meeting numerous individuals from different walks of life and cultures, I gave me a better understanding of why we live and how we live in the US today. So I decided at 25 to quit my job, which is I was doing well, to serve my country, because I quickly understood that we have a lot of rights and a lot of benefits that a lot of countries do not have. But at the same time, we have to protect and educate and show the world why we are who we are. So I retired after 23 years as a Chief Petty Officer, 2010. I currently still work as a FERS employee. I have been an adjunct professor at 4 different colleges. I work very well with Dr. 𝐃𝐒, and I'm currently, for the past 3 years, have been the post commander for a local Veterans of Foreign Wars post here, Wildemar, California, post 1508, where I still mentor and reach out and assist needy veterans to help them understand and get the things that they need, the medicine that they need, the connection to the VA that they need. So I am big on volunteering and big on giving a commitment to time to help those who require it and need it. But I once again, I want to thank you for allowing me to come onto your show.
Man, I tell you, this is absolutely fantastic to have a panel like this on the show, because each one of us, I believe, got vast experiences during our time in the military, and also the path that we chose once we exit the military. And I know that each one of you all are doing great, absolutely wonderful role models, and you're making a difference in other lives. Yeah, I'm going to say real quickly before we take the break. I entered the Navy at 18 years old out of Chattanooga, Tennessee in 1978. Because I had no vision of what I wanted to do. And I was always told that I was not going to amount to that. You know, you're not going to amount to anything. And a lot of killings, a lot of strange things happening where we was at. And me and my partner, Billy Harper, decided to go in on the buddy program. But Billy was our star quarterback and broke his leg and this and that. And I was left and going in there by myself. But, you know, I mean, went in and I tell you, because I was looking for opportunities to be something different. I had never left Chattanooga really, but I got in the military, and it took me a while to figure it out. Run across great folks like Herman, Archibald, run across great folks like Charles Golden, a Navy, because we are Navy, so been knowing each other for a while. Kind of gave me vision to understand that you can do anything you set your mind to. You can do anything you set your mind to. And so we served. We all served. And so that's why we're here, why we retired. All of us retired from the service. And we are here to share our stories and tell you why we serve. But we're going to have to wait until after the break before we dive off into that. So I tell you what, whichever platform that you're watching us on, I mean, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, E360 television, Transfer television, Roku TV, Amazon television, live, any platforms you're watching us on. If you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is just go to the comments and ask any questions that you might have. And I tell you, I promise you, I'll get you an answer. It's your life, and I'll see you shortly after the break.
I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me, and I can't get rid of this feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Just like a
valor, experience. The values that make veterans are the values that make veteran businesses America's #1 choice. Veteran business owners throughout the nation are ready to connect. OpsForVets.com. Handshakes, not handouts. Ops for Vets connects veterans with business opportunities. Here is a closer look at a featured veteran business. Every business listed is a verified veteran-owned business and can be found in the OpsForVets.com supplier directory. OpsForVets.com. Get on the grid.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And I tell you, just like I was saying, we got a wonderful, extraordinary panel here. Well, we're getting ready to share some of the things. First of all, we're going to talk about why are we celebrating Veterans Day and why you should all, even if you never served, you should serve. You should celebrate Veterans Day. But before we get there, we've got one of the veterans that have not introduced himself. We're talking about Dr. Pastor Earl Pierce, my man. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, brother. How you feeling?
Man, I'm doing just fine. Hey, Pastor, can you tell our 1 minute or less our viewers and listeners a little bit about you? I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can now. Yes.
I didn't get the full question.
I said, can you tell our viewers and listeners in 1 minute or less a little bit about you, what service and things that you're doing? Because I know you're doing some wonderful things in Atlanta, and just tell them a little bit about you.
Well, I'm the senior pastor of a non-denominational church here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a little exhausted right now. And we're actually in the process of building a new facility, and of course, getting together with all the county officials, et cetera, has been somewhat of a task. But we're doing a lot of community stuff. We're also doing a lot of stuff here with prison ministries also. We're heavily involved with the Georgia Department of Corrections at basically all the maximum security prisons, both men and women. But we do, like I said, a lot of community food programs, et cetera, and a lot of stuff for young folks, because I do a lot of stuff, dealing with the high school athletes, college athletes at Clemson and Georgia and some other places, and NFL also. So I do a lot of chaplaincy work with the NFL also. So I'm exhausted. I'm telling you. But I thank God for how God has used me. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, from a section of Brooklyn called Bed-Stuy. That's where I was born and raised up in Bed-Stuy. So I've been a little bit everywhere, and I'm a former Marine. I was on the All-Marine boxing team. So that's what I did at Camp Lejeune. I did my boot camp was at PI, the 2nd Battalion D Company, 22-8. So again, happy Veterans Day, but also to all my Marine Corps brothers and sisters, happy birthday also. So that's a little bit about me.
Hey, thank you. I mean, just like I said, all of you guys are extraordinary. Okay, I'm gonna ask a question, and we're gonna keep it like 30 seconds apiece. We're gonna start off with you, Captain Archibald. What does Veterans Day mean to you? Arch,
Veterans Day is one of those days that a nation is judged by how it treats its veterans. Now, so Veterans Day is a time that we celebrate people who were willing to sacrifice blood, guts, family, for whatever, for freedom, because freedom isn't free. and somebody has to pay for it. And the veterans are the ones that stand up and say, I'll take that watch. I'll stand. I'll do what you can't do. You know, when after 9/11, they said, everybody go to the mall. Everybody shop. Well, while everybody was going to the mall and shopping and boosting the economy, somebody was standing to watch, and people was transitioning. Somebody had to go into those very dark places, and those veterans are the ones that say, hey, I'll go, or they were the ones that went to those dark places around the world that many places people don't know about. And they do it for freedom. They don't do it for money or fame. They do it for love of fellow man, family, and country.
Wow. Charles Golden, what does Veterans Day mean to you?
Well, first of all, it takes a big person, not a big person, but a person with a lot of heart to become a veteran. Because first of all, you are leaving your loved ones behind. You're making a decision not just for the nation, but for your family as well. You are putting forth the utmost sacrifice that you can put forth, because you're willing to put your life and your belief and everything that you own on the line for those that you love, and for those who sometimes don't even know why you're doing it. But you do it because if we're going to live our lives, if we're going to secure our freedom and secure our what we need to do, someone has to step up and say, I'm willing to raise my hand. I'm willing to stay up late at night. I'm willing to miss my family so they can be secure. So Veterans Day, to me, it's a celebration. You know, it's almost like a celebration of life, because without the veterans, we wouldn't have what we have. That's what Veterans Day means to me.
Wow. Stacey, you up. What does Veterans Day mean to you?
You know, I really like what Charles just said, and I don't even know if at the young age that some veterans that we go in, that we're even aware of the magnitude of the responsibility that we are holding. And I know now, and you know, later on in my military career, became clearer. Some days there were some epiphanies that, you know, especially when I was in during 9/11, it's like, wow, now it is going to be up to those of us who have volunteered to protect this country and the people who live in it. It's going to be up to us to make sure that this does not happen again. And that should give anyone and all of us who have served a some gratefulness, a huge thank you even to ourselves, because we took on this great task that I don't even know if we're fully aware of everything that we were going to be responsible for. And I'm grateful now to be able to express this. And again, Dr. Cooley, thank you for the platform, because everybody, we need to understand more and more that this is a heavy lift. It's heavy mentally, physically, spiritually, on your relationships. And so it should be looked at as a day that we show gratitude to individuals who decided to say, yes, I'm going to answer this call.
Wow, that's deep. What about you, Dr. Clem?
Yes, for me, Veterans Day is a separation out from other days. We have active duty members that are serving in the military, and we all recognize them and the great things they do. We have Memorial Day to reflect on all of our fallen soldiers and all the services, and we have that day, and we recognize there. Veterans Day is for everyone who has served and their service is over. And it is great that in America we recognize everyone along the chain, and especially on a day like Veterans Day, everyone who has served. It also gives me time to reflect on some of my service, and it gives people that I'm around a chance to ask me about some of my service in order to understand what us service people do. It gives me a chance to reflect on the people that in my unit and in my interactions in the military that we've lost along the way. And it also gives me a chance to reflect of all the many years that I looked up in the sky and said, I've never heard of this country before. It gives me many years to look up in the sky and to think about how I looked up in the sky and saw the planes flying. When I looked to the right and saw the aircraft and the ships interacting. When I saw the thousands and thousands of vehicles on the ground from the Army and all the other services, and knowing that at the end of the day, I'm doing it for a purpose, and this day kind of brings it all together. Now that I've done my service.
Wow. Dr. Pierce, can you reflect on what it means to you?
You know, it's a day of recognition when you look at those individuals who put their lives on the line. And I think Sister Stacey said something that was quite interesting. You know, I know when I hit Paris Island, I really didn't have any true understanding of, you know, what I was actually doing per se for this country, to democracy, etc. But I just look at it as a day when there's a lot of recognition done to those who have served, who put their lives on the line, who were really dedicated to this country, and showed that, listen, no matter what the color of my skin may be, I'm still going to defend this flag, the American flag, and do what I have to do. Because when it's all said and done, it's going to affect all of us. But at the same time, something else that I kind of look at also is I think about how many veterans, especially those of color, who, because I had a couple of brothers who went to Vietnam, and when they came back home, the things that were done, what were not done for them, and now that we're giving, even though Veterans Day was back then, now it seems to give more recognition to the things and that they had to go through. Because I remember watching one of my siblings in particular. We used to use the word in the community where I grew up, they were crazy. Well, we didn't understand that there was a lot of mental health issues that were going on back in those days, because of what they had seen at war, and because a lot of our, you know, our brothers and sisters, brothers in particular, were put on the front line in the heat of battle, to see what is going on the day like Veterans Day, when they're getting the recognition, they're getting the help that they need, etc. It makes me feel a whole lot better. But to myself, I do, as someone out there, I can't remember who said it. Dr. Clement, I think it was. I wonder what happened to a lot of the guys that I was in boot camp with also. It makes me think about, you know, what are they doing, and everything, the guys that I was on the boxing team with, etc. And for those 13 weeks that we were at Paris Island together, going through what we were going through, learning learning how to be Marines and being transformed from scuzzy civilians.
Wow. Yeah. Each one of you guys, it's kind of hard to follow how you guys just explain that, but Veterans Day to me means so much because in the beginning, it's like I said, I have no recollection of what initially about going in the military until me and my partner Billy started thinking about that one. And the only thing we were doing was looking for a better life and getting out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And once we entered the service, once I entered the service, Billy was not allowed to do that. I discovered real quickly that the meaning of protecting our country, protecting other nations, and creating an atmosphere of protection where our youth, young adults, all the people in the United States and many around the world will be safe. I mean, because we are part of the most powerful militaries in the world. I mean, regardless of what anybody might say. And freedom means so much. And being veterans, and as veterans, we are still, even though we're not in uniform, we are still showing and celebrating and protecting. And many of us are and you went out and got into the government job. So you're still part of the military, but you're doing it from a different level. I mean, you still protecting because you believe in your country. You believe in the betterment of others. You believe that we can make a difference and bring peace to the world. You know, on that point, I'm going to take a station break. We're going to come back and we really going to dive deep into a lot of different things. We're going to dive deep in it and figuring out what happened to these guys after the military, what type of career path they took, and et cetera. So we're going to talk about all of those type of things. So if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is go to the platform that you're watching us on or listening to us on. Go to the comment section, ask any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life. We'll see you shortly.
We are not a charity. We are veterans. We are warriors, brothers, and sisters. We don't need, we deliver. 𝐷sforvets.com. Handshakes, not handouts.
I'm Albert Rencheria, Marine Chief Warrant Officer 4, retired, Ops for Vets CEO. I invite you to take a look at our organization. You'll quickly understand why out of thousands of groups currently serving our veterans, we have become the most rapidly growing and opportunity-rich team in the market. We have deployed dynamic distributors who are responsible for servicing and growing their regions, East, Central, and West. We provide a complete roster of high-caliber services, produced to create the results you require. Find us on the web at www.opsforvets.com. Handshakes, not handouts.
Hello, I'm Dr. James 𝐃𝐈𝐒 from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection. How you doing out there? Hey, I'm Dr. James 𝐃𝐈𝐒, and I will be teaming up with Dr. Michael Mantell. Well, we're going to do a new series beginning November the 1st. It's going to be a 4-part series where we are going to talk about health 360 degrees, where we teach people how to just think of themselves. You get your mindset right and just think fitness. And we want everybody to dream big, think big, and be big. And we want everybody to be in their ultimate fitness, condition, mind, body, and soul. So this show starts November the 1st, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with Dr. Michael Mantell, world-renowned doctor that's doing so many great things, and myself, Dr. James 𝐃𝐈𝐒. So we want everybody to tune in to our show November the 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd. Who knows? Might be a permanent series. Dream big, think big, and be big. Hello, welcome back to the James 𝐃𝐒 Show. It's your life. Like I mentioned that we got these absolutely extraordinary guests, panelists, all that served and doing some magnificent things. And so what we're going to talk about this segment is how did serving, translate you into, I'm about serving, being a veteran, translate you into the career path that you chose after service. So I want to start off with Dr. Clem first on this one. Let's hear it, Clem.
Well, I joined the Marine Corps in 1979, and I figured out that I was going to be an artilleryman because I was went in open contract. When you go into open contract, you don't pick your job. The Marine Corps picks your job. So when I found out I was going to be an artilleryman, I realized shortly after when my drill instructor came up to me and said, "You're going to be the brains of artillery. You're going to be the computer guy." And figuring out then that there was no computer. The computer was me. And as I sat down and learned all of these algebraic and trigonomic functions on how to get artillery on target, when computers were introduced into the Marine Corps, I became the expert. And that was at a young age back in 1984. And I pretty much did that my entire Marine Corps career up to 2003. This led me into becoming an expert in fire support, in the computer portions of fire support. And I find myself on every aircraft carrier, every big deck amphibious carrier in the Navy in Pac Fleet. And I was the subject matter expert on fire support and connecting ground forces. From there, I went over to Bahrain. And in Bahrain, I was integrated with the forces over in United States Central Command. And I had Marine Forces Central Command. And I'm a civilian now, working with generals. From there, I moved on and opened up my company, ClemNet LLC. And all of this experience that I gained along the way, coming from a poor kid in Compton, moving up and learning a new skill in computers, moving over to being recognized by some of the highest level commanders in the United States military. By when they would walk in the room, they would say hello to the generals. And then they would say, "Oh, hi, Clem, how are you doing?" This allowed me to open up my business. And here I am with ClemNet LLC.
ClemNet LLC.
Doing worldwide business.
Man.
Dr. Pierce, what about you?
Well, first of all, I'm a pastor now, and no one would have ever projected that to happen back in the day. Believe what I tell you, okay? It's when I got out of the Marine Corps, of course, I was getting ready to turn professional and fight, but I wound up going back home to New York and got in a little situation, and some things changed, but came down to Georgia, and got into school and everything. And once I graduated from college, worked for EDS with Ross Perot, who many of you all know, who eventually ran for president, the whole shebang. But he was heavily involved when it came to the military and everything. So I went to working for Ross Perot, and then from Ross Perot went to I was the first Black national account manager in the Southeast for Sprint Communications, and from there went to work for another company called 𝐓𝐇𝐈𝐒, where I was the first Black international account manager. So, but the biggest thing that I got out of everything was really the discipline that I obtained from the Marine Corps, because when I hit Paris Island back in September the 5th, 1977, Vietnam was still kind of smoking a little bit, and our DIs were very, very tough. And who was it? I think it was I can't remember the name right now. But when I hit Paris Island in September, it was an awakening for me, of course, because we didn't have any idea what we were getting into. Basically, all of us that went to the Marine Corps, we were all fighters. And the Marine Corps at that time had one of the best inter-service teams, and we knew the coaches and everything. But just the discipline and everything that I obtained from the Marine Corps, and just also I really wasn't supposed to be getting an MOS that dealt with any kind of business, because when I graduated from boot camp, those that know anything about the Marine Corps, I graduated as a Series High PFT man. So what they wanted to do was send me to Camp Geiger, North Carolina, which is where you have your recon rangers. And I was going to either do that or make the team, the boxing team. And of course, I made sure I did what? Make the boxing team. Because I could swim and all that good stuff, but I wasn't about jumping out of airplanes and all that good stuff. And everybody was always trying to convince me, because you're the Serious High PFT man, it's this and that. No. I love standing on, inside a skyscraper, but I wasn't jumping out one. And but it's just the discipline, because again, coming from inner city New York, section like Bed-Stuy, I was a little wild. It wasn't a little wild, I was wild. And point blank. So that's why today, when I run into many people who remember me back when, and they go on Facebook or wherever they go and they see that I'm the pastor, they go, "Pastor who?" So I'm just, God has a sense of humor. Believe what I tell you, but I'm grateful. But no, really the biggest thing was just the discipline factor. It was good. It was great for me.
Wow. So, so one takeaway that I get from that, you're like, okay, I'm not gonna be jumping up planes. I'm just gonna beat some people up. I gotta make this team.
I was always competitive, and anybody who knows anything about the Marine Corps, matter of fact, I'm actually sitting next. I was gonna try to send it to you, JT, and it's kind of old looking now, from 1977, but it just talks about, I look at it sometime when it talks about, there's the noteworthy and his superior achievement in physical fitness, etc. It was great to get the award, but again, I wasn't going to Camp Geiger. It was just simple as that. I wasn't going, point blank. So I knew what I could do with these things, and through the grace of God, I made the team, and eventually, of course, won the gold medal in the 79 Pan American Games, made the 80 Olympic team when I came to Atlanta. But again, we had President Carter had the boycott, so it messed a lot of us up. A lot of guys didn't go back home and go to college or whatever. They just got into certain things, and
they just got into certain things.
Yeah,
we're gonna take a station break, but we're gonna come back. Captain Archibald, you ain't going nowhere. Charles Golden, you ain't going nowhere. Stacey, you certainly ain't going nowhere. We're gonna get a little tab and bit of all of you guys once we get back. But this is such an extraordinary discussion with this great panel that I have here. And if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is just go to whichever platform you're watching this on, ask the question, and I promise you, I give you my word, we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after this.
You fight against. And if you want my opinion, I'll let it take me away. Only relief is the four on the floor and the crowd that goes, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up, oh, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up.
back to Issue Live. I'm your host, Dr. James 𝐔𝐘𝐒, and I'm celebrating with these absolutely magnificent veterans. And they are absolutely fantastic. Just listening to the stories. I mean, just like I mentioned earlier, we all have different paths. Whatever drew us to the service, once we got there, some kind of way we had to like it in order to stay in there and retire. And a lot of extraordinary careers have come out of us joining the military, getting the skill set, learning. Especially when you were told that you're not going to amount to anything, and you go in there and you go back or whatever, and your classmates and everybody look at you like, "Wow, how you do that?" The military, the discipline, I believe, and the things that we experience, the confidence, courage, hope, belief, and faith that we get from that formulates who we are as we continue to transform into the person or the people that we are today. I want to pick it back up with that. And I see that we got my main man, my best buddy in the world, Billy Harper is on. He gonna have a question for one of us real soon. So Billy, you can pop your head in there right now. But I want to pick it back up with you, Captain Archibald.
Hey, again, thank you for the opportunity to be on the show and be on the panel with this esteemed group of folks. I'm so proud to be a part of it. Well, you know, my story actually started before I joined the Navy. When I was 9 years old, the Lord was at church with my uncles and my grandmother, and the Lord spoke in my spirit and said, "Hey, this is what I called you to be one of my shepherds. I've called you to preach and teach the word of God." And I looked around and did like Gideon. Who, me? Nah. I didn't say it then, but I was thinking, no, player, that ain't for me. So I was a really good student, and I was on my way to college, to be honest, and made some bad choices, a couple of bad choices. Nothing gonna put me in jail, but something gonna make me have to have a job. So my daughter was born, and so I had to get a job. My parents said, what we're not going to do is pay child support. That's what we're not going to do. And so I looked around, the scholarship wasn't going to work. And so I went and joined the Navy. And ironically, something happened. I didn't know it then, but the Navy was introducing satellites and computers and all those things. So I got a chance to I met this one white captain on the ship, and he really opened my eyes and allowed me to believe, because he said, "You're way too smart to be doing what you're doing." All I was doing was chipping paint and goofing off, and I became his phone talker, ironically. And so I got a chance to glean from his table, and he would give me some life lessons, and he made me report to him. So I finally got a chance to check out communication, got there and saw satellites. And so I went from basically joining the Navy 8 years later, I was a chief petty officer, and meeting people like James encouraged me to go to school. So I went on to school and earned a commission. So my speed fast, so I end up getting promoted, making 06 for the Army and Marine Corps colonel for guys, May colonel or captain in the Navy. I like to think a captain is a little better than a colonel, but I'll die. My last tour, I became the commanding officer for the command that was in the Pacific Naval Computer and Telecommunications Master Area Station. And it runs all the communications to include in the Pacific, but we also were responsible for the president's emergency communications. So if all the nukes go off and the president has to go off, he has to have receipts. My folks were responsible for that. And so when I retired, it wasn't hard for me to get a job. So I transitioned right into the private sector. I became director for overseas operations, and some say I got fired. I say I got managed out, but the company lost the contract. And then I pivoted and I became a consultant, and was opportunities were there. So never missing a whole lot. And this is largely because I was some great people, some wonderful people who really helped me along the way and mentored me along the way to help me make some decisions. Well, so speed forward now, my job I'm doing now, I'm not in the private sector, and I'm not government, and I'm certainly not on active duty. You can look at my waistline and tell that. I'm growing. So, but and Title 10 says Navy and Marine Corps Relief Society is a special entity. And it's sort of like the Army and Army Aid and Air Force Aid and all those. And what we do, and how this job, they found me. I didn't come looking for it. And what we do is we take care of sailors, Marines, and their families. Our whole mission is to make sure the family is taken care of, and the young Marine or young sailors taken care of. So every day.
And you guys are doing such a great job, Arch, in doing those things. And you and I are gonna have to have a show on that.
I didn't plan to do this. It just came up, and I'm enjoying life. I have a job I don't have to do. I get to do it, and that's what I think about it. And I'm also a pastor of a church too. So God got the last laugh. Between me living here in Virginia and flying back to Pensacola every weekend, so all those things, it's all good and it's all God.
Okay. Hey, we're down to about the last 4 minutes, but I do want to get Charles Golden and Stacey in here on this one. I knew that this was probably going to require 2 hours, so we might have to do it again. So hey, Charles, can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about you and what you're doing?
Well, I'm gonna try to make mine real quick, so Miss Stacey can have her time. It's funny. I'm from a sibling of one of 10, growing up in Detroit, Michigan. What I call the family business is when you graduate high school, you go work for one of the three big car manufacturers. So your life plan was graduate high school, work for a car company, get married, and die. That was the plan that everybody grew up with. But I couldn't. No, that was not for me. That was not for me. My goal and I had too much adventure in me. So I tried to leave home when I was 16. My parents wouldn't let me. So I spent my 18th birthday on a Greyhound bus leaving Detroit, Michigan, and I moved to Massachusetts, Springfield, Massachusetts, where I got signed up for the Urban Center School Skill Center, where I went to the BEE program. Did that for a while. Got hooked up with I don't know if you remember Digital Equipment Corporation, which is now I think it's HP Compact, whatever. So I did that for a while, and I kind of got burnt out. And somehow I went into a dark space. Surprisingly enough, I joined the military to actually refine myself. I needed to put myself in a place where I only had one job, and that was to do what I was told. That's literally that was it. And I joined as a corpsman, believe it or not. I was a corpsman for 4 years. And my dad, what got me back into computers was my dad. My dad was working for General Motors, and he was going to bring in automation, and he was going to lose his job. So he called me, and I had to teach him how to manipulate a computer. And this is a man who grew up on a farm, was in the Army, left the Army, and went to work for General Motors. He had no idea what a computer was. So that revamped my love for computers again. So I did a cross rate from corpsman. Back then was called DPs, data processors. You know, that race long gone. They call them ITs now. And that re-sparked my love for computers. Since then, I have since gained my master's degree in information system technology and computer forensics, which is what I do for the government now here in California.
Wow. You know, hey, Stacey, you got it. You got it for like 2.5 minutes. And by the way, I want to congratulate Stacey. She will be the newest inductee in the doctoral community, I think in about less than a month. So congratulations, Dr. Stacey.
Thank you. I'm gonna do this quick for us. So I said earlier that I needed a life change. That's why I went into the military, so that I could be structured. But I want to talk about two things that I took away from the military that I still use now. I was a dental assistant, dental hygienist, and then the clinic manager. But what I took away was anticipation. Make yourself indispensable to anybody. Anticipate what they're going to need before they need it. Next thing is flexibility. Key skill in life. We must be flexible. God wants to use us, and he needs to move us. And I'll stop there.
That's beautiful.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna make mine real quick. I went in the Navy, just like I said. I told you guys, and me and Billy was going in as a buddy on the buddy program. But primarily, I tell you, what I got out the Navy is leadership abilities, confidence, that you can just move forward and whatever you set your mind to. Yeah, you really discover yourself personally, because especially if you're in trials and tribulations, and where you're in war zones and you're doing this, you have to make decisions to protect each other and everybody, regardless whether black, white, green, or purple. You're brothers and sisters, and you have to protect each other to the fullest. And that's what even though we're not in the military today, each one of us learned that lesson from that, where we are still members of the military services, because we're going to die like that, because we loved our country so much, and we love making sure that freedom is there. I like to thank each and every last one of you all. I'd like to do this again with this panel here, where we talk about the military and we talk about some other stuff, because it's still a lot of stuff that's not being told. And I know the television station get ready to get mad at me because I'm past the time, but who cares? Stacey, you get in trouble all the time. But I just want to thank each and every last one of you for taking time to come on the show today and show your gratitude and gratefulness about being veterans and also educating the public. I'd like to thank Dr. 𝐊𝐔𝐿 for putting together another absolutely fantastic program. But most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show. It's your life. I tell you, always dream big, think big, and be big. We'll be back Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time next week. Remember, it's your life, and we'll see you then.
Happy birthday.